So Star Wars has apparently gone off the deep end this time, cataloging a litany of buzzwords. Doesn't that make you want to buy in? So hey there. So today we are returning to that wonderful world of trash fires. And as I've said many times, nothing quite says trash fire like the way Disney has treated this property. So really, imagine this scenario. You go out, you spend $4 billion on a license to print money. And what do you do with that license to print money? You diminish it, and you diminish it thoroughly. We've gotten to the point where we're not just talking about the movies either. We're talking about timelines being erased. We're talking about characters being introduced simply because new and better buzzwords. And now, if you look at this, yeah, it's right along those lines. Bob Iger, I can understand why you needed to hit the freeway, because you know what? You're never going to recoup that money. So this story comes to us from Bounding Into Comics. And if you haven't checked out Bounding Into Comics by now, you definitely should. I mean, this is one of those places that goes out and actually tells you what's going on for better or worse. And they've actually taken their lumps for this. You should watch some videos on that. It is absolutely insane. So as the article notes, Star Wars announced a brand new publishing initiative that they call the High Republic. And they made it clear that the focus of this initiative is on quote-unquote diversity and representation. Now, I would play you the video that is attached to this, too. I mean, a lot of it is... Now, there's a video attached to this, 4 minutes long, and as much as I would love to share that with you, well, our Disney overlords, they're not so loving. So instead of doing that, I'll give you this reaction. Drink that in. Does that tell you how this is? Because that's exactly how I feel. Now, Vice President of Franchise Content and Strategy, James W., made it clear in this announcement trailer that diversity and representation are a focus of the initiative. I love how they throw that stuff around, too. I love how they toss these buzzword hand grenades like they actually have meaning. He states, "We put together a really unique writer's room. We had really diverse voices with very different opinions about Star Wars. Oh, I can only imagine how those sound. Oh my God, you know what's totally not in this? This 0.2% of the population, that if you don't put this into a galaxy far, far away, we are going to totally boycott everything." Fun times. Now, one of the writers that is attached to this initiative, Justina Ireland, echoes this sentiment. I mean, you can really tell what you're going to get here. "We all love Star Wars," she said, "but," always get that caveat there, "but we are all coming from it at very different places. You know, we all love the material. That source material is great, but we're going to put our stamp on it, and we're going to change up everything that you love." Fun times again, huh? Fun time. And then we get to the plotting whiteboard. And by the way, let me say, whiteboard, totally not diverse there either. Totally not inclusive. But a whiteboard from the writer's room at the Skywalker Ranch also reveals their focus would be on diversity and representation. In fact, it's so important, it's on the board twice, under the fiction column and the Star Wars wishes column. Now, to really break that down, let's go column by column. And a fun thing, let's leave out that word, diversity, or the other one, inclusion, and let's see what's here besides that. So for fiction, authentically lived in. Okay, so you want people that feel like they're part of it. Surprise. So you want to surprise people with what's going on. Actually having an ending. You know, that makes sense too. Feelings. You want people to be able to feel. You want to convey that. Got that there. And you want relatable characters. That's understandable too. You want this to be sweeping and epic. I get that as well. And then in the middle of that, you put diversity. Does that feel like that belongs in that? So this second column, Star Wars with its own little heart, isn't that swell, is actually as telling as anything with a buzzword. I mean, for example, right off the bat, you get no pro-war. I mean, around that, you have another one that says, hey, we want space and lightsaber battles, but we don't want this to be pro-war. Now, didn't they go out and they look at New Hope? I mean, New Hope, we're not talking about being about war, but we're talking about being about rebellion. In that, you have battle after battle, because this, I mean, it is on an epic sweeping scale, and the only way to sweep aside that huge force there, you got to blow things up. You got to go out and you got to meet it head on. It's not about throwing buzzwords at it and seeing if you can take it down. It's the same thing, too, when we get into the prequels. I mean, look at that. There's a war going on. Is that pro-war, or is it simply part of the backdrop? See, that's what kills me about this. Now, you have droids in that. Of course, you're going to have droid edition. I mean, what would Star Wars be without that? Scope. Yes, you have to have a huge scope with this. And it needs to be mythic. You need that mythic standard. You want no single main characters. That's an interesting thing, too, because if we look at episodes 7, 8, and 9, the way those movies are focused, they focus on a few main characters. You know, they have this central spotlight. If you look at the earlier movies, especially 4, 5, and 6, those iterations, they do a great job of mixing in characters. Those last ones just seem to lose that. And of course, you've got to add in the Force somehow, some way. Now, with this last column, I want to do the same thing that we did with the first column. I want to note everything within it except that portion of representation, diversity, and you tell me, does that seem to belong here? Or is it something they're shoehorning in, saying that this is some quintessential idea? So, Star Wars wishes. High Republic, that's the first. Makes sense there. Relic hunters. Now, I really do like stories with relic hunters, provided that that's done well. Episode 9, it was terrible to watch them hunt for a relic, but I've seen that done and done well. University, okay, works fair enough. Dinosaurs. I like that dinosaurs is not only there, but we get an exclamation mark because, you know, we need Jurassic Park in space. Dinosaurs can be fun, too. I mean, if you drop people on a planet with that kind of backdrop, it can be a good time. Then you have Arthurian legends, and that's one of the things that you want. You want something that's tried and true, some type of blueprint that people understand. And I mean, when you look at legends and lore, all of that, it works out great. Rival houses, so you have some type of inner conflict, you have something to build on. That stuff, that works out real well. Sith Empire, yes, indeed. Want to go in, want to explore the Sith, that totally makes sense to me. And then chaos agents. I mean, just having that word there, chaos, sounds good. Agents of, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then, they add in that diversity representation. Again, does that really feel like it belongs there? Now, as for what this is actually supposed to be, Rounding into Comics explains that it's supposed to be set 200 years before the events of the Phantom Menace in an era called the High Republic. According to StarWars.com, none of this will actually overlap any of the film series or the film features that are currently planned in production. Now, that person that talked before, that VP we heard from that threw around this stuff, he said that the Golden Age was where there's more peace and calm in the galaxy. So we're going to call it the High Republic. A narrator adds the description that we used for the Jedi of this era is that they are Jedi Knights of the Round Table. So you see where the Arthurian legends come from. Now he continues with this, saying it's a little bit more the Wild West, the new frontier. We see a different kind of Jedi that patrols the frontier, and it's a little bit more Texas Ranger. This will be the core of the group of heroes that will expand over time. Now then he talked to StarWars.com, and he explained that much of the storytelling will take place in the Outer Rim because this is the golden age for the Jedi, and it's also a time for galactic expansion into the Outer Rim. So expect there to be rich tales of exploration, charting out the galaxy, meeting new cultures, and discovering what pioneer life in the Outer Rim is like. This is an incredible sandbox for our storytellers to play in, both within publishing and beyond, and we can't wait to see what great fiction they they build within it. Now, as the article explains more and more, and it does, you should check that out, I kept wondering this, though. How exactly is going to alien races, how exactly is space exploration not in and of itself diverse? I mean, when you add this stuff in, you shoehorn in these words. It says that you're going to compile something that doesn't belong when it itself should already be there. It's just like Kathleen Kennedy talking about what makes these movies better. Now, with 7, 8, and 9, we have females in the helm. Doesn't that make this good? No. What makes it good are the other factors there, and those factors, they actually integrate these ideas because those are part of the concept. They should already be there. But anyway, you tell me what you think about this. Ending this very briefly, too, I want to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for participating. You do make this stuff possible. That's what these folks forgot, and woe be it unto them. If you'd like to sub and share around videos, that would definitely be appreciated. But your time is valuable. I don't want to monopolize it. I just want to say thank you. A lot of people don't, and I really do feel grateful that you show up here. So anyway, we'll do this again. Check that out. Thanks.